Oh, it's in progress, recording. Hey, I'm Vivian Rose, Vivian Tandem, whichever you know me from. I'm going to do a short interview, this time with my brother. It's a kind of interview dialogue. So, Caspar, you can
Mhm.
just also ask questions back or have
Okay.
comments, and we can have like a dialogue going on. Caspar
hmm
Tandem is my brother. I know you as I want to say terror expert, but terrorist expert, but you've done a lot of things. I would
Yeah.
like first for you to describe what kind of work do you do, or how would you describe your work, like in some words, in simple terms.
Yeah. Terrorism expert is a part of what I do. A general term is conflict analysis. Dus all to do with political violence, and terrorism is just one manifestation. And I've been doing that kind of work for, well, at least 20 years, probably longer. At least 20 years in a row, and it's analyzing armed conflicts, terrorism in the West, in the East, in other countries, mostly as a freelancer, so that I advise people to do research or to do the research for themselves, that I do the research for them, or that I just translate their works. That can be also on other topics than political violence. It can also be on migration, human rights, immigration. Um, as a freelancer, official freelancer with my own company, I've been doing this since 2014.
Okay, and
Yeah.
are you like inspired, because I know you studied politics? Are you inspired
Uh-huh.
in this
Yeah.
direction through your politics? Tell something why you started studying politics. Where did it start? Did it start when you were 0 or 3 years old or 6 years?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
When did your interest in politics developed? Why did you choose to study, and how do you come to
Mhm.
these subjects, the conflict?
Um, Probably at a very early stage, but what I remember most clearly, and then I was around 10 or 11, and that was when I was very conscious about the live television of the Egyptian President Sadat visiting Israel for the first time in modern times. That the Egyptian president did this, and very soon after there was a major peace treaty. So it was positive news. So, and then I think that was the first time I remember that I became politically conscious.
Sorry,
And
can I
I,
go back? Which year was
yeah,
this? Which year was this? Is that
around
90?
1978, 1979, 1980.
Maybe it has to
I
do with
actually
me
forgot the
because I was
exact
born
year.
at 1979. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Just go
Eh,
on. Okay, so
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
the first moment, positive news, this happening. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and a few years later, I became interested also in Dutch politics. And very early on, why I became interested in politics, because that's the arena that humans decide on themselves what to decide as a community, how a society should be organized, what are the rights, what are the limitations of those rights. That usually is done in the political arena. So to me, it's very important to be involved in it, to study it. So yeah, and that's why during my school days and during my study days, politics was a major part of my life. I would almost say.
I think also
Yeah.
what I remember, of course, because we lived in a kind of in the same family, maybe different time, but there was
Uh-huh.
also a lot of, always the news was on a lot, and I
Yeah.
our parents, and not so much me, not so much one of my brothers, but also one other
Yeah.
brother, always he studied politics as well, so it was also an
Yeah.
environment where you could grow
Yeah.
an interest in everything.
Yeah. So of course our parents were politically conscious, interested in it, and probably even in the 70s and the 80s, it was our mom, Johanna Joke, who mostly put on the television. Even
Yeah.
though our father was also politically interested, he was more interested to read the news on the computer or the newspaper. But
And
the
also,
live television, that was our mother's thing.
yeah, I think our father was more history also.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yoka
Yeah.
too, but Yoka, I remember sometimes that with the what was it with the Iraq War, with
Oh
the
yeah.
how's it called again? The Gulf War. How do you say
Yeah.
it in English?
Well, I think Gulf War is one of the was I believe the one in 1991
Yeah.
when Iraq invaded Kuwait, and
She would look the whole
I
night. The whole night. She just
yeah,
wouldn't.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah, yeah.
I actually informed our mother that it was the first time we got. It was only a few months ago before the war that we got CNN on TV on the channel. So, and our mother watched the whole time more fanatically than me or you
Yeah.
for
Oh,
hours
definitely
and
that.
hours and hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
never that interested in politics, but I think more later when I became more
Uh-huh.
interested for like also the party for the animals. I was
Yep,
like
yep.
a group, a work group. I don't know how you say this in English, but I was like a little bit,
Yeah, yeah.
going along and wanting to, but it eventually wasn't me. It's too much sitting work and stuff.
But
But
also for you, it was also on the issues of animal
yes,
rights and human
yes,
rights.
yes.
And for me and our parents, it was in that sense broader that we were also interested in all kinds of political matters.
I know. I just
Yeah,
went
yeah,
drawing. When you were busy with those things, I just went drawing or painting. By the way, you
yeah,
draw a lot too. So
yeah. As an
you have to,
illustrator, yeah,
yeah, yeah, as illustrator. So you do more things than that. You do a lot of things.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
It's not only politics. No, that's true.
that's cute. That's good. That's healthy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What
No, that
What do you
would
think?
be.
Look at the family, like your interest also in politics. You're
Uh-huh.
really focused on the conflict and the terrorism,
Yeah,
guerrilla,
yeah, yeah.
peace, and do you are there things you feel like you're maybe very similar with the rest of the family, or are there things you
Uh,
really like opposite or more different how you think about things?
mm,
Or because sometimes when
yeah,
we
okay.
talk about peace and stuff, I can relate to you, and with
Yeah,
someone
yeah, yeah,
else I cannot relate less. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
interested. Yeah, because you also do, maybe it's also interesting first, before I forget, that you also do for the remembrance of Srebrenica, the false
Yeah,
Srebrenica. You organize,
also for many years.
you also
Yeah,
organized and helped with organizing for the memorance. So you do
yeah.
more
So
than only just paid work.
while our activist inclination or to help people or to support people by demonstration remembrances, well, I think that's the biggest part of our nuclear family. Most of us have the same kind of inclination. Maybe um, our we two the most, but
Yeah, I
also
think
the
so.
others.
Yeah.
um, but what generally I think all of us in the family have been, or maybe still are, very conscious of the outside world. So we're not like this only about our own family, our own village, or our own country, but very oriented to the outside world, interested in the well being of others far away.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, basically, I think it's, I would almost say it's in our DNA somehow.
Do you think that?
But the particular roads have been quite different. It has to be part of our volunteer work or paid work. Uh, so there are clear differences, and a particular interest on topics like terrorism or forms of political violence. Well, that's my thing.
Yeah.
But that's more, I would almost say, the details of human phenomena that we focused on different phenomena,
Yeah.
also as an activist.
Do you think
Because
attracting?
I generally agree with all your how to call it, against speciesism, against
Yeah. Yeah.
cruelty to animals.
Yeah.
But then for some reason I decide to focus on other kinds of
But
cruelties
that's
among human beings. Yeah.
you know what bothers me? I don't know if you noticed this also. You've done politics, so you probably talk to a lot of politicians or people who are busy with this. That
Uh-huh. Yeah.
there's so much discussion within a group or within, I think it's very good. You focus on this, I focus on that, and both are important. And you cannot do
Uh-huh.
everything. And somehow
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
punish others always for focusing on one thing. But that doesn't mean
Yeah.
you're a
Yeah.
one issue thinker. You're just
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing
Yeah. Yeah.
wrong with it. Did you have
Yeah.
discussions like in politics that people like say, why do you do this? Or did you have a lot of discussions in your life? I know politics is full of
Well,
contradictions.
in some parts of my life more frequently than now, but still occasionally. But the thing, I had recently discussion with some Ukrainian refugees in Leiden. It's a few years ago, and they were just criticizing a bit about. They just arrived in the Netherlands, and then they noticed that some human rights or I would call aid organizations were focusing on rescuing animals,
Yeah, I know that. I
like
think I
pet
know
animals in Ukraine. So I said, first of all, what about your own pet animal? Were you able to rescue them? And the thing is, what I also explained, if there's brutality in conflict, it happens throughout. So it can be human beings, pet animals, other kinds of animals. The thing is, when a war happens, brutalities happen to any living being. And so I try to explain it's all right if some groups focus on the animals because they're usually neglected. Uh, and I said that wouldn't mean that your case is neglected. We should do it all, and not only some of it.
I,
You know?
I agree with that totally. Yeah, I think there
Yeah.
it's
So yeah,
from both ways from every side. I think everything is important, and it's good that we all have our different focuses
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
expertise.
yeah,
I'm thinking of so
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
What is the coolest thing you've ever done in work in this area? The thing that you still think, okay, that's cool, or you're busy with it, or something that you feel like I'm
Mm.
so happy I'm part of that, or I was part of that. Which are you most proud of, do you think, or most satisfied?
Um, well, maybe I can give one or two, maybe three examples. One example generally about my research work that I developed own definition, no nonsense definitions of terrorism, that
Mm.
everybody can be a terrorist against unarmed people, states, non-state actors, rebels, irrespective of ideology. And it's surprising how few scholars, analysts, politicians use such very simple, no nonsense definitions, and I got some impact, especially in the NGO world, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch. I spoke; they appreciate my work. I don't have any much success among politicians, for instance.
Yeah.
And a second example, of course, that I helped to set up the Srebrenica commemoration in The Hague in 1996 with some other people of our action group and with two Bosnian groups. And now it has become very large. So I'm not active in the organization anymore. I just visit the remembrance the last few years, but not as an organizer. But that's because probably that commemoration would have happened but only in the year 2000 when the IKV and other large organizations started to set it up.
What is
But
ICAFE?
nobody would have done it in the first 4 years,
What
probably.
is
If we,
ICAFE, maybe?
huh?
ICAFE, you said?
Yeah, IKV, yeah, it's a peace church, interchurch peace council. It's now part of
Okay.
PAX. It's like a Christian human rights organization or
Just
Christian or
asking, so I
uh,
understand.
yeah, I think otherwise nothing would have had been no commemoration Netherlands between 1996 and 2000 if me and some other colleagues wouldn't have started at the top. So I'm proud of that. Was a third example, but I forgot. But what about your more recently, right now, or in the distant past, or
What do you
why
mean?
what you're proud of it? Proud of your
What I'm
work or
proud of?
volunteer? Yeah.
Sometimes my daughter, if she has a good mood.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm
In the family.
I
Yeah.
think I'm sometimes proud, just not always, but and not with everything, but I'm proud some things how I handle as a mom, which I think is also I know it's not work and we're talking about work, but I always
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
for me it's difficult to I like work sometimes. I
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
enjoy it. I
Yeah.
sometimes think I've done really cool performance arts, like on the
Yeah.
street and interactions and really cool stuff. People were like, what's happening?" I'm
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
proud that I was not scared and I did it. Even if I was scared, I would have done it.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
but I'm more proud of the things which has not to do with work. And that's for me sometimes a kind of difficult thing that I feel
Yeah.
I'm not related too much to my work because the thing I'm most proud of is maybe the moment I
Mm,
decided to become homeless. And that I threw
mm,
away everything, gave away everything, sold away everything, and I just went with a backpack with a little bit money, no bank
yeah, yeah,
account, no health insurance, just hitchhike. I mean, and I worked.
yeah, yeah,
I got success as work. So there are moments of work that I'm proud of, but in the
yeah,
Netherlands,
yeah,
I don't feel that, especially with jobs, it's difficult to be proud because I think
yeah,
people,
yeah, yeah.
maybe you can tell me if that's true because you've been also with a lot of foreigners and outside, you've been also a lot of Poland. Maybe you can talk about that also, and also in Albania,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
recently in Albania. Um,
yeah.
sorry, I sometimes have a Dutch accent. Dutch. Um,
Oh, that's fine.
yeah, but I'm like, Dutch people don't really start from trust. So you have to
Oh,
work, you
yeah.
have to have your diploma, they have to be secure, you have to do this, and there's no
Oh, yeah, yeah.
space to be yourself. And I have a character and I need to express myself to enjoy my work.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
work I did like as an English teacher in Brazil, and how
Mm,
positive all my students were, even if I only worked there a month, is more a good experience because I felt I was me. I could do it my way. I did it totally different. All my students were
yeah, yeah,
positive
yeah.
about me. I got a big assignment in, but because I was traveling and didn't. So anyway, so there is a lot
Yeah,
of small things, but I always feel that work is not my main. I'm proud
yeah,
of.
but I think in most societies, also abroad in Poland, I was recently for a week Albania.
Yeah.
Work people. I think there are two basic reasons why people find work central to their lives. It's status indeed, and that's problematic because not all your life is work. It shouldn't be. It should never be.
Well,
The second thing is it's a way to have secure living because mostly people get through work some money, so
you
to
hope.
survive.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you
that would
hope.
be nice.
But the thing is, there are differences in how they fill in their states. For instance, in Albania, people, and also in Armenia and other places, people overestimate. They think that all people in the Netherlands are rich. So you arrive.
Uh-oh.
I was a poor, struggling scholar,
Yeah.
and I said, "Well, I make €1,000 per month." They said, "Oh, that's terrific." They said, "With the living cost in the Netherlands, you're relatively poor." And things you have to explain. And I also had to, it was difficult to explain that I was also years in social benefits, also in 2012,
Sure.
2013. And they couldn't understand why, if you did political science, finish your study. I said, 1 out of 5 students, even today, if they finish a study, they can be jobless for 1, 2, or many years. At least 1 in 5, at least 20%, even in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And about work and other ways of political activism, they can understand it in Albania. But when I talked to Albania, we opened a library, small library in a village, and she tried to find volunteers. But they don't understand the concept of volunteer work. Of course, many of them are relatively poor, but the thing is, they just expect a salary. Even if you work for 10 hours to open a library,
Yeah.
and she tried to explain, she started up a new NGO with only little money, so she can give a small fee or a gift. But the whole concept of volunteer work doesn't exist there yet. Maybe they
Interesting.
have to become more wealthy or whatever. So they're big in that sense. They're big. I see big differences
Yeah. But you went
about
to
out
Albania because
around the concept of work, how
yeah,
they fit in their life,
yeah, yeah.
what they see as yeah as
I,
what they see as leisure time, for instance, when.
yeah, I know this. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I thought
yeah.
you went to Albania because you gave some books for free or something for your.
Yeah, a few hundred books, yeah.
Out-
Because as a freelancer, I also sell some books to antiquarian. There's some
Yeah.
behind me. And there are some unsold books that I donate. Well, Albana came to my home a few months ago, put it on a bus, and I recognize some of the books that I
Okay.
donated in the library.
That's why you could stay there for free, right? Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Basically for free. It was there was also I made a new friend there, one with Australian Greek background, a composer. He lives in Amsterdam. He makes modern music, And even he, although he's about hospitality culture, he wanted to buy his own coffee in the village or in Tirana, and always Albana, others paying everything, and he became a bit irritated because. So in that sense, he's a bit Dutch, you know. Sometimes you have to take care of yourself. So there are funny culture clashes sometimes.
Even living in Norway, I have this like sometimes
Yeah,
it's different, and then I have to explain like I'm not Norwegian, and it's okay you are
yeah,
Norwegian, but I'm not Norwegian, and it's not that
yeah,
big
yeah,
a
yeah,
difference compared to many countries. But even here, you feel the difference. Sometimes you have to explain things
yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't do this normally, and I feel comfortable. I mean, I'm not in a lot of things. I'm not typical Dutch, but I'm also come from a country, and that's okay. Like there's
Yeah,
nothing
yeah,
bad
yeah,
or
yeah,
wrong at it, but. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
really, I'm still interested in politics because I watch Lubach still, and I watch the
Oh yeah.
Rondje Binnenhof. It's like a
Oh
political. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
still
yeah.
kind of interested and still Dutch. I try to read about here, but everywhere there's political shit. And sometimes you started from the good news when you were 10, but sometimes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? It's
It.
like there's so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
bad news at the moment. And
And I was glad that was a week in Albania. I hardly watched the news, so sometimes you have to put it. It was
yeah.
a semi-vacation, even though the main day was the opening of the library, but the other days were vacation basically. And then it's nice to put out the news sometimes. Yeah.
Is it sometimes
Uh,
something that moves you too much? I mean, you're pretty, I don't like to say the word rational, but you can just read things without, for me, when I do
oh,
too much,
pragmatic. Yeah, yeah.
I cannot watch the news. I don't understand how people just watch the news. So have there been moments in your
Yeah,
life
yeah.
that something was too much for you from the news, too personal or too close because of
Uh,
friends or Srebrenica or, the subjects you've been.
well, there are some limitations with I study forms of violence, mostly on the political public arena, violence, armed conflicts, or occasional violence in so-called peaceful societies. But the ironic thing is that I basically don't understand why people use
Violent.
violence, especially the brutal. And in research, with the Balkan Wars, I could have. There are people, terrorism experts, but also conflict experts. They study a live footage of warfare or live footage of the people, video torture of
Oh
people
God.
slamming you or even
Yeah.
more. And I said, no, I'm too sensitive for it. I would get too shocked and depressed. So I've actually never done that. Uh, and I'm doing a new research on ritual violence in Liberia, West Africa. Why it has occurred in the distant history, why it still occurs today, with ritual, with religious beliefs.
Yeah, because
So
you
killing
focus more
people,
on religion or society and
ideology.
politics,
Yeah.
but you don't really focus on psychology. Why do people, slash your focus, right? Or sometimes also interested,
Um.
why are people aggressive?
Well,
Why do they want power? Why did it? Because, oh,
a
before I
bit. Yeah.
just, but
Yeah.
I shouldn't forget something. Yeah, go. Okay.
No, the thing is, I study violence, of how it happens, but also why. So I also study because in my brutalization theory, there are basically like belief system ideologies, grievances. You're angry about something, and then it's revenge. And there's also selfish motives like greed, that you steal stuff from people in plundering. So it's a fear, greed, grievance, anger are the basic motives that almost always happen in war, armed conflict. So in that sense, I'm very interested. But even if I understand those motivations, I still basically don't understand if you're angry. If I'm sometimes angry, but I will never kill someone or torture someone. So that's the next level. That's mysterious.
The family is safe. Yeah.
Yeah,
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 but
yeah,
I
yeah,
wonder, I
yeah,
wonder when you study this, what I notice when I look at the news and when I look at
yeah,
aggression,
yeah.
when I look at wars. I mean, not even 0.1% is female. They're all they're not women. They're all men. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, we also, as a woman, we go through shit and still. we hardly start to just suddenly kill everything and be aggressive and want more
Yeah,
power. So
yeah, of course. There have been many studies about the difference between men and women psychologically and biologically, and better that explains it. But the difficulty is we cannot really. Most societies have been patriarchal and male dominated. And then, of course, if there's war, it's usually started by males because males have the power anyway. Societies. But for instance, if on this earth the half of the societies would have been matriarchal and the other half patriarchal, then we could have compared
yeah,
whether the patriarchal societies commit more wars than the matriarchal ones. There have been only a few. Of course, it's very plausible that women psychologically are less prone to violence for biological or psychological reasons, but a direct comparison is very difficult to make.
it's difficult because we're also not raised that way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Raised you have to
yeah,
be powerful and
yeah,
fighting,
yeah,
and second world
yeah.
war is cool, and it's a guy thing,
That's male. You could call it male dominated or at least patriarchal. So
yeah, but that it happened
uh,
that it's male dominated says something about it in general.
yeah, that probably it is, but we're not certain whether that's the main reason. So yeah,
Uh, yeah,
what can I say?
we would
Yeah,
kill all men if we could. No, 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 just so
yeah, yeah.
no.
Maybe then it will be truly peaceful. Yeah,
Oh, finally. And then we are not, also, women are just peaceful with each other. Always when women are together, it can be good. But the moment a man comes in, we're like, no, just
yeah, yeah, yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
That's very black and white. But we had a while ago, we had like a conversation which was very interesting to me
Hmm.
because I don't know, I started or you started, but we were talking about guerrilla and terrorism and groups.
Yeah, yeah,
Groups. You always see it in countries where people are suppressed. I mean, if you
yeah,
look at Hamas, if you look at from
yeah,
Colombia, what's it called? Colombia, the
yeah,
FARC,
yeah, 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 yeah,
it's all from a very suppressed country. So it's
yeah,
feeding on this kind of groups. It doesn't make it okay. I'm not saying that, but
yeah, 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 yeah,
do
yeah.
you, are there
It,
countries
it,
with,
it's
yeah, just,
it's generally it's true that most of the political violence conflicts happens in societies where some people suppress other people's, and the other people eventually rebel and use lethal violence as rebels, for instance, because they have grievances, they are angry. So actually, if you look at all kinds of armed conflict, then of those motivations of ideology, belief system, greed, grievance, and self interest, grievance is the most important because that happens in suppressed societies.
mhm.
The other three also happen, but they are like secondary factors in an armed conflict. So it's very simple. Basically, I believe it's very simple. If all societies would be free and democratic, there wouldn't be wars or armed conflicts. Actually, it has been proven that there hasn't been wars between established democracies amongst themselves in
Okay.
the last 200 years. Only that some democracies do it sneakily with secret wars against other democracies, what the United States did in Middle America. But they couldn't do it openly because they couldn't sell to their own people that they were attacking another democracy openly. So those are exceptions, but by and large, I think the freer, the more democratic, the more equal societies are, the less chance of war, the less chance of brutalities. It wouldn't be zero. There will be always be problems with crime or domestic violence. That is very, how they call it, long-term problems in societies. But for the larger scale violence, yeah,
But is grievance really the main thing? Because when I think on grievance, for example, and if I would say stop hurting me or you're making me sad, nothing happens. So I feel people also take guns and shit. They do this kind of thing because with with peaceful demonstrations, they're often,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah,
calmed
yeah,
down, or how do you say, they're just broken up. So being peaceful doesn't help. I mean, I'm for it, but it seems not to really. It not often helps. It helps
yeah,
sometimes, but so it's
yeah,
not only grievance, but it's like frustration.
Well, the thing is,
It's kind of
peaceful
frustrating.
resistance, even in if you have peaceful resistance, it can help against the repressor if the repressor has a minimum of decency. For instance, with Gandhi, with his independence moving against the British authorities.
Yeah,
For instance, he had peaceful marches, or the people were laying across the railways.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the British stopped the trains. But if the Nazis would have occupied India, the
Yeah,
Nazis would have just run over them. So
exactly.
if the opponent is very brutal, like the Nazis, for instance, then usually peaceful resistance only helps to keep yourself, your mind free and alive. To have an underground system as dissidents, then peaceful resistance are good. But to overthrow such a regime, it's understandable that you start to do violence yourself, like
And
lead.
peaceful resistance is often also
Yeah,
discussed. Like I think it was with Martin Luther King, and what was the Black Resistance? What was it called? The Panthers, the Black
the
Panthers.
Black Panthers. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
they were kind of against how he handled it. So
yeah,
if
yeah, yeah,
you want to do it peaceful, you have groups who don't believe in it, or they're finished with. So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know,
But
the
that,
yeah,
but always tries peaceful first, and you have to also to can you survive
yeah,
as a peaceful resistance movement, and how patient are you? How many months or how many years? Because often in such a situation, why do people pick up arms? Because they lose patience.
yeah, yeah.
And actually, that's the basic. If you lose patience, you often have violence.
If you gain
Maybe
frustration,
understandable,
also,
but
yeah, the more frustration, also,
yeah, frustration is part of grievance.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a major theory that's called frustration aggression. It's a classic theory about explaining violent human behavior. I've used that in my research. But before we wrap up, I'm very interested in your current. You started as a therapist, right?
Yeah, thank you for asking, Caspar.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You're
Yeah,
so
but at first I was very surprised, but soon after I wasn't at all because for many years you've helped people in one way or other as a coach, as a language coach, or helping asylum seekers with practical stuff. So from a coach to a therapist is actually a relatively small step if you look at it from that angle. So when I was thinking about it, I said, okay, okay, you've been a coach, a therapist is just the next step. But how do you look at it actually?
the thing is, I haven't started like officially. I still have to register, and it's like a lot of work because it's in Norwegian.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I have to translate it and understand it properly. So I was trying to register, but I have started with the website. I have started doing practice sessions. How it actually started, I think there are more things. Our father's getting older, and he's the famous
Yeah,
guru
yeah,
in regression or reincarnation therapy, past life therapy. But
yeah,
well, I think different of life. Like I'm not a past life. I wouldn't be a past life therapist, but in regression
yeah,
therapy
yeah.
sessions, I have really seen and know how it helps people. And I think
Okay.
the combination, he getting older and I was having more conversations with him. I thought like I was also studying different things like track and tracing of animals, which is very interesting also, and
Hmm.
it's more outgoing, it's less introvert. And I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just, okay, teach me something. And so I did some practice sessions and they went so well. And I was
yeah,
so
yeah,
surprised. I was so,
yeah.
I thought like I have kind of talent for it. And it's interesting.
Mm,
There are more reasons I think why I want to do this. The funny thing is you're not the only person who's surprised. There are many
yeah,
people
yeah,
saying like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Because I studied art academy, but I really don't want to work in the art world. It's impossible. I'm too activistic. I'm too engaged.
yeah, yeah.
I don't make selling art, and I don't want to do that. It just doesn't make me
Mm,
happy. I don't like this world, and I've been a long time. Then I got a child, and I also had a welfare and physical. A lot of things happened also, and
uh,
I don't know, I just tried it and it was interesting.
yeah,
And what I like about it, it's a way for me to work without sitting too much because today I'm also sitting too much. I have my physical things.
uh,
It's a way to help people and it's a way to develop my work. And I
yeah, yeah,
also find it difficult that we're so focused. We study something and the rest of our lives we do the same thing. and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
different. I'm just not wired like that. I don't believe in that. And
yeah, yeah.
it's enthusiasm, and I don't know how it's going to go. But when I talk to people I'm doing this, they're really
But the
interesting.
first reactions have been so positive that,
Yeah,
of course, you should just go on and see how it goes. Huh?
yeah, definitely. It's
Yeah,
scary
yeah.
when I do it. Like when I'm giving sessions, I'm very focused in the session,
Mm-hmm.
very listening also to my intuition. I use how they use their, even their muscles. I check like what is happening, and
Yeah, yeah.
every time I feel like I'm a little bit searching through the session because you don't know, and suddenly it's just there every time, and it's just
Huh.
when I see the relief of people and the surprise, and that they say even after a week or 2 weeks, say, finally I can sleep a little bit
Yeah,
deeper, or I can start doing things again, and I can see my past more as my past. And I'm like, wow. But the weird thing is, and I have to be honest, I have myself went into therapy with my dad. That's how it started. And then
okay.
it started to be interesting. Only
Yeah,
kind of weird that I feel like I need my therapy myself, but when I do it, I feel like I'm very professional. So I
yeah, yeah.
have my own issues, but somehow I can let that
You
go.
can
Or
keep it separate somehow. Yeah,
yeah, and I start to
yeah,
appreciate people more again because I feel
yeah.
mostly good
But
people
but
come to you,
but
with who are victims
uh,
or been through shit. They're good people. They
but
want to
well,
be better.
I realize one thing about the
Oh,
family, that most of them have been interested in politics, but also in helping people.
yeah,
My dad, as a consultant, helping companies or business people, or as a therapist, but also what I remember of your performances across now 15 years. Or, as an artist, you've also been activist, and actually, you want to help people to open their mind, to make them
yeah.
relax, to give them insight. So, helping people in one way or another,
Realizing things. Yeah.
it's a common thread amongst all our activities, I think.
Maybe, yeah,
Uh,
that's a good thing to say because people find it so
yeah,
different, but maybe it is not that.
yeah, yeah. The background theme is the same.
So
Only you.
nature stays important. Even with the therapy, I feel it's important that we go a little bit more back to not only understanding ourselves but our surroundings.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
coming back really in therapy, but I'm also I use my intuition. I think that's important, and
yeah, yeah.
no, I'm focused also on animals in a different way. But here in Norway, it's all the hunting
It's a
and the
limit. Is it more limited than in the Netherlands in some way?
yes, and yeah, it's I understand better why they live the way they do here. It's more logic somehow, but it's not easy.
Mm,
So,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
sometimes, yeah, that's sometimes weird. You help the greatest people, and you meet the greatest people, but they're hunting, and that's sometimes for me that's
yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, some of the activities is contrary to your own ethical principles and beliefs. While they personally can be friendly, of course,
yeah.
because
Actually, a
another
friend of
part.
mine said people can be really kind, but they can be so mean to
Yeah.
animals, and that's always a little bit. That Oh, by the way, that's interesting. Also, when you go here and you go on therapy and more, I'm not spiritual, but you have the spiritual
Mm,
that you notice you
hmm.
have to go. I see, and but did you notice that people a lot of in the spiritual world they just eat meat and stuff. In the Netherlands, it's very
Oh
different.
yeah.
Very different
Well, the thing
beliefs.
is that with spiritual people, if you think about the cosmos or where we supposedly came from as souls or whatever, whether it's true or not, you should make it consistent, your belief system, and then all living beings. Because with some spirit people, most of them will believe in reincarnation. They also believe that animals reincarnate. Okay, if that's the case, why do you still eat their bodies, so to
They
speak?
have all these reasons.
So you should be consistent, and most people with their belief systems, if you think through it, they're islands, separate islands, but they're contradictory. They don't fit together. Many people don't realize it. How
No,
maybe my belief system is also contradictory. Let's keep modest, but I at least try to think about it, of whether
you're
it's on the
aware.
same plane.
You're aware of it. That's it. And some people
Yeah,
are just not. I just the last
yeah.
question I want to ask you: what is like?
Uh,
Thing which you would like to do in the future or what you're busy with, you're like really excited? I know there are also some things maybe you won't talk about now, but
oh yeah.
yeah, is there something which
Um,
is like really close to your heart or something which you hope to do or you hope that people will in the future ask you for?
yeah, if you look at activities and work, um, because I've been studying violence, trying to understand it, trying to have concepts that help people to understand it. But sooner or later, I want to switch from conflict analysis to conflict prevention and resolution. So,
Uh,
more like an activist, also with my own insights of other researchers and practitioners, become a conflict mediator. Um, I originally thought when I did my study political science that I would do that very early on, but I noticed as also a freelancer, it takes so much time to investigate stuff of armed conflicts. But I want to make that switch sooner or later. And big question mark was with the local elections. I voted for Volt. Uh, well, actually, I wanted to vote for Volt, but I don't live in Leiden. But I went to the people election
okay.
night, and people were telling me again, why aren't you in politics? Because they think I'm so sharp and enthusiastic and this and that. Well, I've been a political activist, but a step from political activist to politician is still a big step. So I'm still doubtful whether I should try it.
Because they asked me like in the past they wanted probably me to also be part of the politics in a different party, and I was just
Yeah,
mostly
yeah,
thinking it's constantly sitting, and you cannot have you have to always agree with your party almost. You cannot just go.
compromise. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You have to go
yeah,
with, and I'm like, like even if I agree
yeah,
most of the party I would vote for because I'm Norway.
yeah,
I
yeah,
still
yeah, yeah,
don't feel like I don't want to be like this follower and agree with everything. And
yeah.
less you have less freedom when you're like really into politics in a party.
Usually less freedom than as an activist or political activist or
Yeah,
you. That's but the thing is, I've tried to think about it. I was a member of other. The thing is, you can compromise on issues that are less important for you. That is all right. But if it's, for instance, on human rights or animal rights, and your political party suddenly makes a decision, and you, as a minister or parliamentarian, has to go to the camera or to the journalists and say, "Hey, well, I disagree with it, but my leadership voted for it, so I have to agree to it as well." I wouldn't be able to do it. And
same,
you the
exactly.
same.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think you could do it even more kind than I would. I would be like, no,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah.
it's
So
so important.
probably that's the reason why I'm still not in active politics because of that barrier.
You could be an advisor for politicians on
Political advice
subjects.
would be much more probable. Yeah.
Yeah, because then you have a little bit more freedom and they can just take what they want. But
Behind this, well, I can be advised. I've advised take it or leave it, and then move on or something.
yeah, but at
Temporary
least you're
advisor.
not, yeah, at least you're staying true to your own ideas
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
knowledge and own, yeah. So that's
But
good.
maybe as a political troubleshooter, political advisor, because political advisor is very close to a conflict mediator. So maybe
Yeah.
I will do those the same. But that's a kind of ambition I have for the near future, for the next few years. Let's see whether that.
I just want to become the guru like my dad. Like, women are often not gurus. And I think I'm very
Women
emancipated.
guru.
I hate gurus. I hate putting people on a pedestal. No one should be higher or lower than you. Animals sing.
Mm.
But I just want to, one time a
Well,
woman.
it's very simple to just become well known and appreciated for it. And you don't have to have a guru position or a leadership
I
position for it.
agree,
But
but sometimes I finish with all these gurus and shamans and people who are
yeah,
like,
yeah,
they're men again. I'm like, come on, like it needs some
yeah,
kind of,
yeah,
but the thing
yeah.
is, the only thing I worry with my work is that I'm, I'm, I'm so honest and I'm so myself that I sometimes worry about my entrepreneurship if I can be like really business,
Oh,
you know, like
well. but
But
the thing is, you can be honest and be diplomatic or friendly at the same time. You have to use the right words, but you have to say what you think also as a therapist, even
okay, you're an
sooner or
asshole,
later
but
with the
you're
client.
okay. I'm okay with it. You're an asshole, something like that. No, but
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well,
I'm kind of polite. I mean, more, I'm very personal. So
yeah.
when I'm like on LinkedIn, I find it very difficult to write in a certain way to get an assignment. I think you have that too. Like,
Oh,
no, I'm so
yeah.
personal and I just want to write what I want to write. And I don't want to write because
Well,
I'm an entrepreneur and I have to, you know?
yeah. The thing is, try to avoid the standard uh, language of like looking for job interviews, because to say I'm very enthusiastic that I can empower myself through the job is standard expression. Try to avoid standard expressions because people will know that's just standard talk. And that's not really you. But the thing is, it's very difficult for
I think I'm
different
more too
jobs.
personal. That's my problem. I just get too
Yeah, yeah,
personal.
yeah.
I find it very difficult not to show what I think or feel, or I have too much
Yeah.
sometimes, not when I do the session. When I'm in the session, I feel I can like
Mm,
I'm focused on the person in front of me. I'm focused on
yeah,
their
yeah.
story. I try to be a guide, but beside that, I feel like I have too much character sometimes going on, and that bothers me sometimes. Like that's the only thing I worry about most.
Oh,
To keep it professional, to never, online, if I see something stupid, and sometimes I feel, come on, people, like this is not okay, or but sometimes it
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah, yeah.
ruin your. I worry like how people look at me, or I have to become
Yeah,
really expressive, and then you become like a different person. But I don't know.
yeah.
I will see what happens.
Well, the only advice right now I have is even if it's sometimes risky, you have to do it if it's very important to you or to your function or job. But don't do it all the time because you have to pick your fights. Be
Oh,
selective.
how
It may
many?
be
I have
difficult.
thousands. I have thousands.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Okay.
for
I.
example,
I.
animal rights, and you see a shit image, I just like, and they say something, this is really bad. So I just say something like, yeah, that's really bad, blah, blah, blah. So I'm
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
but I don't want people to think I'm that therapist who is vegan and who's this, but it's very hard for me because I have that
Oh.
activistic thing in me, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's very, yeah, I try to be professional, but I don't know if I can sometimes.
Yeah, but that if it comes in on sessions with therapy, okay,
Then I'm
I now
then
get what you
person.
mean.
No, no,
Yeah,
then I'm not. Then I'm like focused. I'm not that personal, and then I'm like working.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I used to work a
yeah.
lot of jobs, and I can be really professional. I had clients who were like in shops and things who were assholes and really annoying, and I
Mm-hmm.
stayed kind. I don't get like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I see it as my work, but the moment I'm outside that, I find it really difficult to, like some
yeah,
people
yeah, yeah,
can be constantly their work, and I'm not my work.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah, yeah.
anyway. We're talking too much, and I really hope for
Well,
you to
we
become
can
the.
have we can have a follow up talk another time on
Yeah, that would be
these
great.
issues.
I really,
Yeah.
really enjoyed it. It's funny that I feel always when we talk about subjects as activism or rights or the way you look at things, I
Mm-hmm.
feel most like I can relate to your way of thinking, even if I don't know everything yet, and that you also want to be,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
what did you say, like a preventive and terrorism, terror,
yeah, yeah.
how do you called it?
Conflict, Just
Prevention of conflict.
studying. Well, I just sometimes I made a joke to people. I study murder and mayhem, and so keep it fair, murder and mayhem.
Yeah, but I mean, you
Uh,
want to be more
yeah.
like the preventive side of it instead of the
Oh
only
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah. Not only understand it, why it happens, how it happens, but how to prevent it, minimize it, combat it,
yeah.
oppose it, constrain it in
That's so
other ways.
important. I think that should be
Yeah,
done much more. We're in everything, in
yeah,
the medical world, in the political world. If we
yeah,
think a little bit preventive, it's like 4 years preventive. What do we do this years? But we're not
yeah,
really
yeah,
thinking from the start. How do we prevent this?
yeah,
Maybe it's really we have to raise people different, and maybe the school system has to be different. Maybe a lot of things has
yeah.
to change. Maybe it comes sooner. I always think like from birth it should already change.
Yeah, a
But
conflict mediator should have a high status in the future, like diplomats and politicians.
it's much more
Occasionally they
important.
do. with sometimes it happens with the peace accord in Northern Ireland a few decades ago. Some politicians, but there were also professional mediators who mediated for 5 to 10 years. So sometimes you have success.
Yeah.
Uh,
It shouldn't
uh,
start to begin with, and that's what I
yeah,
worry about, that we don't really think preventive. You know,
yeah, yeah. Of course, prevention is the most important thing, of course.
and also
But you,
when a war starts, people always wait too long to intervene, and then
yeah,
the
yeah.
war already happened, and then it's
And
much more difficult to build up a country again. And
yeah, yeah, yeah. Then misery has happened already, and then you have to help people, and of course, preventing is the best. If that doesn't work, intervening right away,
yeah,
and,
not
uh,
great.
and if later on it's the worst option, but better late than nothing.
But that's
In that
politics,
case,
there are too many rules. So even if most countries agree, now we have to do something, there are
yeah,
rules and we have to follow those rules. And if they
yeah.
don't, then
Well, that's one of the
I
that
understand
that's one of
partially,
the
but it's like crazy because it takes like years before they can do anything almost.
But if people believe that you have to help people also through humanitarian intervention,
Yeah.
then if in societies the political leaders agree, then it's easy to agree between 5, 10, 20 leaders. But the thing is, it's not in the general mindset, so but that's why it takes so long all the time. But anyway,
You are going. I think you're going to
yeah, I
movie.
need to go. Um, um, I'm going to watch a German movie about an a small community at the island in the Waddenzee, but then at the German part just after the end of World War II, and how are they dealing? So it's a drama. It's not a standard war movie. It's more like a drama. Apparently, it's a good movie. So I'm going to see
Sounds,
this evening.
sounds really interesting. I really want to thank
Yeah,
you. I really enjoyed our talk. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, it's great, and thank you for your questions and make me think again. But now I'm tired.
yeah,
We're night. I used to be a night owl like you. You're a night
yeah,
person.
yeah.
It's also difficult as an entrepreneur being a night person. But since I have a child, things have changed. So now I'm really
Oh, yeah, yeah.
tired, and it's not even 9 o'clock.
Maybe
I'm getting
next
old.
time a bit earlier. I
Yeah,
hope
I'm getting
we can
old. I
talk a
feel
bit.
old. When you become a mother, in Dutch we say, I have to translate it like moeder, which means mother,
Yeah.
and moe means tired. So I always say like mother is worse than moeder,
Oh, yeah.
worse than moo. So
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I think I heard
yeah.
something walking upstairs. I think that's my daughter. So
Okay.
I have to
Well,
go.
then let's have a follow-up talk and all the
Really.
best. And we will meet soon, but also talk soon.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye bye.